Hello, my name is Diane, and today I'm going to talk about some of the books coming out in October. I have 5 books to talk about. They are all fantasy. I'm just going to get right into it. Starting on the very first day of the month, on October 1st, we have Fine and Private Place by Peter S. Beagle. This is a paranormal fantasy following a main character called Jonathan, who lives in an abandoned mausoleum in a cemetery in the Bronx. And there he communicates with the newly deceased as they are passing on from life to wherever it is that they go. He talks to them, provides comfort if they need it, occasionally plays chess with them, and just gets to interact with these spirits before they pass on. He lives a very reclusive life, living here in secret, and his life is disrupted when there are 2 ghosts who fall in love, and with the help of a talking raven and a security guard, this encounter and this blossoming relationship between these 2 ghosts changes his life. Sounds very strange, kind of sweet, very interesting. I'm not really sure what about his life is going to change, why it is so significant for 2 ghosts to fall in love, which is something that is very unusual and shouldn't even happen. But it sounds like this will be very interesting to see how that all unfolds. Also coming out on October 1st is The Crescent Moon Tea Room by Stacy Savinsky. This is a historical fantasy. The story follows 3 sisters, Anne, Beatrix, and Violet, who, ever since both of their parents have passed away, have run this tea room together, serving their customers. That is until the Council of Witches comes to tell them that the city's diviner has lost her powers, and the lives of the 3 sisters begin going in different directions for the first time. Anne's magic is developing beyond that of her sisters. Beatrix is a writer whose writings have attracted a publisher, and Violet is being tempted by the appeal of the circus and possibly a trapeze artist that is in the circus, marking a family curse that is finally taking effect. I like seeing stories about the relationships between siblings and set in a tea room with the addition of magic. Sounds like it'll be very interesting to see how the lives of these 3 sisters play out, if they can stay together or stay true to themselves as they figure out what is in store for their futures, and whatever this curse is that is causing these changes and pulling them apart, or if that's just where they're all meant to be going. And coming out on October 8th is The Witches of El Paso by Luis Jaramillo. The story takes place in Texas in the 1940s. Part of this story follows Nina, who is a teenager who takes care of her sister's young children, but she dreams of a life of freedom, and the premonitions that she has experienced since childhood are beginning to get worse. After praying for help, Sister Benedicta arrives one night and Nina follows her, finding herself in colonial Mexico where her powers grow and develop. And in the present day, we have Nina's grandniece, Marta, where she balances her legal aid practice, motherhood, and caring for the now 93-year-old Nina. Marta agrees to help search for the daughter that Nina left. During this, the 2 bond further, and Marta uncovers abilities of her own. Again, another story about family, in this case a niece and an aunt. It sounds like there will be a fair amount of things to uncover about Nina's past and her life and experiences following the sister and developing her own powers and the prices she may have paid in that process, and in turn Marta discovering that she has supernatural powers as well and what that may mean for her life and her future. Then on October 15th, we have Sorcery and Small Magics by Mega Juicy, as well as a main character, Leo, who is very good at small magics. He can do things like summoning butterflies and changing the color of someone's hair, and while this type of magic doesn't really get him a lot of respect, whenever he does any larger spells, it tends to backfire. So he has vowed to never use more powerful magic. Until one day, a forbidden spell has bound Leo to his rival, Sebastian. Sebastian is the opposite of Leo. He is very well respected, incredibly talented, and they have both agreed that They cannot reveal that the spell has been done, binding them together, and they need to find a counterspell to free themselves of one another. So together they have to work to track down some way to break this spell, traveling through a dangerous forest and setting aside their rivalry, at least for the time being. Sounds like it may be a little bit more lighthearted in the way that they interact with one another. At least they are going to be up against some dangerous things as they go about trying to find a way to break this spell. And I do like seeing characters that maybe don't get along forced to work together for the same end goal. In this case, they have to work together to get away from each other. And the last book I want to talk about comes out on October 22nd. It is The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door by H.G. Parry. The story takes place in 1920 in England at a secret magical academy where our character Clover doesn't feel like she fits in there, but she has worked very hard to make her place there. And she is there in search of a way to cure her brother Matthew, who has been cursed by some fairy curse as a result of World War I, at which point the portal to the fairy world was sealed shut. All study of its magic has been banned. And when she crosses paths with Alden, another student at this school, she finds that a lot of doors that were previously closed to her are now opened. And years after spending the summer as friends with Alden, all of these doors to the fairy world are now open as a result of something that they did. Clover now has to reconnect with these people that she is no longer friends with in order to find a way to stop all of these doors from opening, potentially putting the world in danger from these fairies once again. Sounds a bit more mysterious in terms of what Clover and Alden actually did, what these consequences may be, and the dangers that this may pose for the world that they live in. They could potentially have unleashed another way for the fairies to attack and curse more victims, like her brother. I'm curious as to what it is they actually did and also how they're going to stop it, if they're going to be able to work together after whatever happened between them that caused this falling out. Those are all the books I have to talk about that are coming out in October, the ones that I've been most interested in. Let me know if you're looking forward to any of these or what you're most excited about that comes out next month. That's all for me today. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.